Well, boys and girls, it's that time again. Today, the iPhone SE 2022 is launched. Let's go pick it up. So I'm really glad that I got here early. I got an early time for my iPhone SE because this line is absolutely crazy. Look at this. It's complete madness. There's like two people here to pick up an iPhone SE, I guess. All right, guys. I was able to beat through the crowd and get my iPhone SE 2022. I also decided to go ahead and pick up a Apple silicone case while I was in there. So I'll go ahead and show that off in the video here once we get back and get it unboxed. All right, we got the goods right here in this tiny little Apple bag. I gotta say, they actually make really good quality bags for what it's worth. If you care about an Apple bag. So I got two things here. I got the new iPhone SE 2022, and I also got the iPhone SE silicone case. This one, I got it. It's the black color. I guess that's what they're calling it. I don't know if it has a more official name, but it's the black case to go along with my midnight iPhone SE 2022. As much as it hurts my heart, we're going to do the unboxing just so we can take it out of the box, show you what it looks like, and we're going to have some discussion on the phone, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into it. So here we are with the iPhone SE 2022. Again, I got the midnight version, 64 gigabytes. I'm going to use this probably for like the next week or so. I'm going to do a review on it. I've had the previous SE, the 2020, and this one I wanted to go ahead and pick up as well because I do like the form factor. They make it so easy to take these out of the box. You don't need an unboxing tool, a knife, none of that crazy stuff. Just pull little pull tabs. So that's cool. Ta-da! Here is the midnight colored iPhone SE 2022. Go ahead and take it out of the box. And I gotta say, it does look a little bit more blue in person, like a kind of a, I mean, it looks like midnight, I guess. Yeah, you look up at the sky, it doesn't quite look black. It doesn't look quite dark blue. I will give a 2 cents here to someone else who had mentioned to me that it does look more blue. So you were right. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was trying to argue with me that I was wrong because I was calling it black. So I guess I was wrong. Well, that's neat. So instead of having the white plastic covering that normally has all this stuff, it shows you here you've got the mute switch, the volume buttons, and then the power button over here. They built that into this clear one. It's the first time I've seen that. I do like that. Sharp looking phone, of course. I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen this design. It's been around for a very, very long time. And I do want to allow, and I'm not giving them permission, but when it comes to this phone, it's very, very polarizing. There's a lot of people, especially in the tech community, who are hating all over this phone. Waste of money, don't see the point in it, blah, blah, blah. The phone is not for them. There are people who legitimately want this phone. You should be able to appreciate it and enjoy it and have an exciting time today. So we're going to give this phone the same amount of respect we give other phones. And plus, I like it. I do like the form factor. It's something nice, interesting, and refreshing to use in 2022. Got the Apple logo on the back here. Got the single camera up here on the top. I'm curious to see how much more it's improved from the last one. And then we've got our lightning port down on the bottom with the speakers, or speaker down there. It does have stereo speakers from what I remember. This one and that one work tandem together, so that's good. Go ahead and fire it up. And of course, it does have the Touch ID and the home button right here, which is the icing on the cake, which is what so many people love. Now, while it's starting up, we'll go ahead and take the case out of the box. I do have I think a Spigen case that I ordered, and I also have a screen protector that are supposed to show up today, so that will be going on there forthright. Typical Apple silicone case here, which they are mostly my favorite cases for iPhones, which is funny because I always hated them for years and years, but they finally got it right. And then it's got the microfiber in here as well, so it doesn't scratch up the back of your phone. That's super important. I like that a lot. And then it just hugs on there and wraps around the phone so nicely. These, in my opinion, are pretty much the best normal cases for most folks. And I have a hard time saying that because it's $35 for this particular case. And there are some people out there who will say that these are terrible cases, they're not good, you shouldn't buy one, you can get a $15 case. Most of that is kind of true, but I really like these cases for $30. I mean, it's my favorite non-leather case for the iPhone, so I spend the money on it. If you think it's worth it, buy it. If not, you can get a $10 case on Amazon all day long. Of course, I made a video about that as well. You can use previous cases. You can use a case from an iPhone SE 2020. If you're upgrading, use that one. You can use an iPhone 8 case, an iPhone 7 case. I actually ordered a Nomad leather case off of eBay for like $8, so I'm waiting for that to show up. But I do like these silicone cases, just throwing that out there. And there we have the phone. So, and also here inside the box, we have a USB Type-C to a Lightning port cable. So you've got that so you can recharge the phone. Of course, there is no power brick in here, but they do still include this. I don't know why they can't just put a QR code in here, really, at this point. Actually, yeah, there's nothing really in here. You get the Apple sticker, you get this tiny little information thing about exposure, and then the SIM ejector tool. That's it for the not so magical unboxing experience, and I already got the phone into the setup process, so it'll be ready here in a second. We'll go ahead and talk about the phone now. All right, so here's the little furious iPhone SE 2022 that everybody's all scared and afraid and upset about. It's not going to replace your iPhone 13 Pro. You'll be okay, bros and broettes. So with this phone, I think it's interesting. I really enjoyed the iPhone SE 2020, and it's funny because everybody was so excited about the iPhone SE 2020, and now there's so much anti-excitement about the iPhone SE 2022. I think it's okay for this phone to exist. Is this an ideal phone for me to use on a day-to-day basis? No, I'll tell you right now. I've got my Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra right here. I'm recording with my iPhone 13 Pro. Is my primary SIM card in this? Yes. Am I going to use this for a week or two? Yes. And it's really not going to impact my day-to-day life in mostly any way negative, other than the battery life, which is fine. I'm probably going to get a battery case for it. If you're going to use this phone and you're a power user and you like the form factor and you don't want to spend $1 million to get an iPhone, that's a good option. You can get a battery case pretty cheap. There's not a lot of amazing stuff to talk about here, revolutionary in the form factor or the design. It's really identical. But I do like this midnight color. I'm glad I went with it. It's really hard to capture the essence of this color because it's like a deep blue and black infused at the same time. Like your eyes get kind of confused. Like it's kind of black, it's kind of blue. It looks cool. Definitely put a case on this thing, and I'm going to do that right now before I drop it. It is a small phone. It is very thin. I mean, it's a very, very thin phone, very small, very slippery. I wish it had like a matte finish on it, just so a little bit more texture so it is not so slippery. So definitely put a case on there. I'm very much a fan of Touch ID. I'm so glad that it's back. We're good to go there, and you don't have to worry about facial recognition because, of course, this one doesn't have it. So you can't use that. If you're not a fan of Face ID, then this is the phone for you. If you want to use an iPhone in today's world and you don't want to have to use one that's old or outdated, this one is up to date as far as the A15 processor, the most powerful smartphone chip in the world inside of this phone, which is cool, but you'll never ever get to really realize all that potential because, well, quite frankly, it doesn't have the faculties to take advantage of. There's no ProMotion display, no 120 hertz refresh rate, no big battery. There's nothing. It's probably not an ideal gaming phone. Of course you can. You can play Fortnite on here. You can play any game you want, and it'll run it really well. Actually, it will run it faster than the iPhone 13 Pro. You want to know why? Because it's running at 720p on the resolution as opposed to the Quad HD Plus. So you don't have to expend the extra power to run it at a higher resolution or refresh rate. So that's kind of a neat fun fact if you didn't know that. Anyway, I like the phone. I don't think that it really needs to advocate for itself because plenty of people I think are going to go buy it. Over the last 2 years, about 50 million people bought the last one. And with the cutting off of the 3G and the 2G, the migration, the 5G that's added into here, I think that it's perfectly reasonable to put this phone back out. I don't have heartburn over it being $429. I wish it was $399. I mean, who doesn't wish that something is cheaper, right? Of course I want it to be cheaper, but also I'm pretty understanding in the way the world works, and the price and the cost of basically everything has gone up. It's a lot harder to eat up the profit margins on a phone like this because if you sell it for $399, look, I don't care if Apple gets any richer from selling it, but if you got a $1,000 phone and you take out the charger, you take out the earbuds, you take out the screen protector, you can find ways to offset some of the material costs. But when you have a $399 phone, that's very difficult to do. So I get that it's $429, 5G, A15 processor. You're going to hear that a lot. And the reason that it's so powerful, okay, they haven't had 5G in a previous phone. Why would they put an A13 back in this again and then add 5G? It's going to be more power efficient and more optimized for the A15. The processor that's in here is the first one that they paired a 5G modem with. So that makes sense. Also, from a longevity perspective, this phone's going to be basically running the exact same way it is now, other than maybe some battery degradation. This phone is going to be supported for probably about a decade. The last one, the very first iPhone SE, the iPhone 6s, they've been supported for 7-8 years now and don't have near the sophistication and the power that this does. So if you want something that's going to last a long time, you're going to be able to use this for a very, very long time. My guess is this is probably going to be the last time we see this form factor. It probably won't make any sense at all 4 or 5 years down the road. There was kind of a need to refresh it with 5G because of the 2G and the 3G going away. You may think that you don't need 5G, but in a lot of different markets, all the new antennas that are going in are 5G. So if you live out in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin or Montana or Wyoming, and you're using 5G, 5G doesn't necessarily mean you have to have 1,000 megabyte per second download. It's also the latest technology for the signal. So they're not really going out and installing all these old antennas. The old ones are being shut off for 2G and 3G. You need the newer stuff. So this is going to give you expanded network capabilities, and I think it's a little short-sighted to say you don't need 5G, because we kind of do now, especially with them cutting off the old signal stuff. So I'm perfectly happy with it. I'm going to enjoy using it. I enjoyed using the last one. I'm going to do some full battery testing and let you guys know. My guess is it's probably going to get about 4.5 hours of screen on time for me as a power user, and I think that's okay for the size of the phone that this is. It's very similar to the Z Flip 3 that I tested out and did a bunch of use case scenario stuff with that. Yeah, 4 hours is not the greatest when it comes to screen on time, but when you look at the battery life and you look at the person that's probably going to use it, this is something that I don't expect somebody like me to be using on a day-to-day basis. I could be wrong, but I've got my iPhone 13 Pro. That's more suited towards me as a power user who needs a phone that's going to last me all day long, where I'm using it constantly. This ain't it, Chief. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be it. This is going to be it for quite a few people. So that's all I've got. What do you think? Are you excited about the new iPhone SE 2022? Do you think that it's still relevant? Do you think that it's a ripoff? Do you think that people are going to be happy with it and are going to buy it anyway? I think there's quite a few people that are going to be very, very happy about this phone. And I guess time will tell, but I think it's going to sell well. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please head down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.